Let's now turn to you, Eiso, with Poolside, because this is also a very specific assistance for the software developer, right? So Poolside is the new generation of GenAI coding assistant. I must say that it's a very young startup because Poolside came out of stealth last October and successfully closed a 500 million equity round at a 3 billion valuation. So a perfect illustration of the GenAI new generation, just 12 months after its creation. What's the magic about Poolside, Eiso?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, Lucia. Poolside focuses entirely on building the world's most capable AI, targeting software development capabilities. Our view is that in the next 10 years, the gap between human capabilities in software development and machine intelligence is going to almost entirely close. But we were also very aware that the vast majority of software developers in the world and where economic value gets created sits inside large enterprises. Right? The world doesn't often realize that JP Morgan has 50,000 software developers. And so Poolside entirely focuses not just on pushing capabilities in AI and software development, but also making sure that they can actually be deployed securely and put in action inside large, complex enterprise and government environments.
Interesting. So you're going to bring possibly, you're going to contribute to the problem of labor shortage in that space. So that's going to be interesting. But what struck me when you went public, Eiso, is that with your co-founder, Jason Warren, by the way, former CTO of GitHub Copilot, now part of Microsoft, you published a manifesto talking about artificial general intelligence. Can you tell us more? That was very, very striking.
So often when I'm in rooms like this, I like to ask the audience, how many people here fully believe that within the next decade, human intelligence, at least in areas that are economically valuable, we are going to entirely close this gap between what we're capable of and what AI is capable of. And very often we see a lot of hands in the room that go up. I posit that actually the vast majority of us are still underestimating what is going to happen in the coming decades. And Poolside's point of view is the following, is when we look at foundation models today, what they are fundamentally are when we have extremely large-scale data, the web for large language models, or Elon putting millions of cars on the road for solving full self-driving. These models are fundamentally compression of that data into a neural network, a model, that forces generalization, essentially what we refer to as intelligence. And the reason I mention this in context of our manifesto is that areas where we have extremely large data, or we are able to gather it, like putting millions of cars on the road, or we are able to synthetically generate and verify it, areas that can be simulated, like software development, we are going to see that gap close first. And our belief is that the path towards AGI, which is, I think, a poorly defined term, but let's take it as closing the gap entirely between human intelligence and machine intelligence and all things that we consider economically valuable, is going to go through first closing that gap in software development. And not to give a monologue, but to TLDR it really comes to the fact that when we are dealing with the training of these models, we need to be able to tell them, as we are generating more and more data, when they are right and when they are wrong. And in domains that are deterministic, like code, where we can execute it, we can test it, we can verify it, we're able to push these models to more correct, complex reasoning and correct coding capabilities faster than we might be in other areas. And so our view is that the road to AGI is going to go through building the world's most capable capabilities in software development and coding first, and secondly, only in other areas.